Yo, what is up, everybody? It is Riley's Redzone here, back with another YouTube video. I know it's been a week since I've uploaded, but that's because I said, in the last video, that was going to be my last video before the draft, and it was. So I'm here to grade the draft by team. This is going to be all 32 teams. Now, here's a quick note, and I think this is what some of you are thinking in your head currently. Some of you are probably in your homes thinking right now, what's the point of doing draft grade videos? They're useless. You can't predict anything that's going to happen. I'll give you that. It's not like I'm going to predict what's going to happen in the next 4 years. But to me, you can tell right away if teams reach for some players. And I love what that franchise guy has said in some of his videos. If you think that's useless, then why would you predict who's going to win the Super Bowl if you don't know what's going to happen? So I'm here to give my personal opinion of the picks, but just note, if you think draft grades are not, special or anything, fine, that's for you. Then you can not watch the video. But if you're here to get my opinion of what each team did in the draft, then you're going to get that in this video, grading all 32 NFL draft teams. So starting here with the Arizona Cardinals, I like what they did here. Starting with Isaiah Simmons at number 8. He's got a lot of flexibility. Like I mentioned in my draft video, he's the Swiss Army knife of the defense. And I give it an A- because it's an A for value. He was my number 4 player on my board. But I don't think the need was necessarily there, but they stuck true to their board, so I give them credit for that. Nearly perfect. Sort of sad. I wish Isaiah Simmons almost would have gotten put in a better situation, but I think he'll be a starter right away. Just there were other needs, but I feel it was a great pick there. Josh Jones, to snag him in the 3rd round, and you technically got DeAndre Hopkins with your 2nd round pick, is just amazing. Because I was going to say, if they missed out on a tackle by taking Simmons instead of a tackle, that would have been disappointing for them. But to get Josh Jones in the 3rd round is an absolute steal. And if they transition him to right tackle, he can be a starter day 1 and compete with Marcus Gilbert to be the starter there. So he can maybe play right if they want to start him. Otherwise, he's a quality backup left tackle. But he was a top 50 player on my board. So to get him in the 3rd round is an absolute steal. Leki Fotu, I don't love him as a player, but it was their biggest need. They needed a defensive tackle that can stop the run, and that's exactly what Leki Fotu is. That's about just his only strength. So I give them credit for that, which is why I give them a B-. A little bit of an overdraft, but it fits their biggest need. And then they went back-to-back. They go Rashard Lawrence, a little overhyped to me. I thought he would go 4th round. He did go 4th round, so I give it above average there. Once again, they needed the D-tackle depth. Interesting to double up, but that's what they needed, so I like that. And then you have Evan Weaver, who I thought would go maybe 4th or 5th round, so it's a good pick there. I give that one a B+. It gives them some linebacker depth, and that's just a snag in the 6th round. And Eno Benjamin in the 7th is an absolute steal. I thought he was going to go late 3rd, early 4th, and he falls all the way to the 7th round. So that's a quality. He'll probably be their number 3 to start, but that's a quality pick right there, so I give them an A. This team had one of the best drafts in this class, so I give them an A-, close to perfect. One of the better grades you'll see in this video for the Arizona Cardinals. Next, looking at the Atlanta Falcons, they came in with the 16th overall pick. A lot of rumors that they were going to trade up for maybe C.J. Henderson or somebody like that, but that didn't happen. So this is what they did. They picked A.J. Terrell at number 16, and that was their biggest need. The sad thing, A.J. Terrell might be the Falcons' number 1 corner, and that's probably not good. But they needed the corner, so I give them credit for picking a need, but to me this was an overdraft. I feel they could have traded back and gotten a player like Christian Fulton if Terrell was gone, or Jeff Gladney, and that's if Terrell was gone. I feel they also could have traded back and just straight up got A.J. Terrell if the Raiders really like Damon Arnett that much. So I give it a C+. Filled a need, which they desperately needed, but don't love the player there. Going to round 2, they picked Marlon Davidson. The good news for him, he's got flexibility. He can play defensive end and defensive tackle. The thing is, though, I don't know if he's going to be an impact starter right away, but that's an impact player for the future, so I give it an A- there. It's just a good pick, good value there. Matt Hennessy, same exact thing. I don't think he's going to start right away, but he's got the flexibility. He can play center and probably guard. Same thing, though. He's not going to start right away, but he's going to be a quality backup center. He can also bring more depth to the guard position if needed. 4th round, though, Michael Walker. I liked Michael Walker. I do think this was an overdraft, though. I saw him as a late 4th, most likely 5th round player, and they picked him in the early 4th, and so I give that a C+. It's once again, same thing as the Terrell pick. It's a need, but you overdraft the player, and I would have thought that maybe Troy Dye would have been a better pick here, who ended up going to the Vikings some picks later, but I think Troy Dye would have been a better player in that position. The next one, this is just a D. This one's not good. I did not like the Jalen Hawkins pick at 134. I didn't think he was going to be drafted very highly at all, if even drafted. So I give that one a D. He was like my 26th safety on my board. I believe he's a strong safety because Ashton Davis really played free safety at Cal. So if you're looking for that, they could have taken another safety like a Kenny Robinson. Even if you're looking for a strong safety, maybe an Alohi Gilman, somebody else. But I was really shocked by that pick. So, and I don't even think safety was a huge need. I think he's probably their 5th best safety. So that one's a D. Did not like that one. And although this is in the 7th round, which is the only round I would allow you to take a kicker or punter, a long snapper in, unless you literally do not have one of those positions, I give this one a D-, because I think there were, if you really wanted a punter, I think there were better ones available anyways, but let's not get into that. I think it's more, they cut their backup punter, and they bring in Hofrichter. I mean, he can compete with Ryan Allen, but with that being said, I don't think he'll win that job, and it's just, why do you need to take this when you cut your backup punter anyway? So you're straight up replacing a backup punter with a backup punter. So did not like that at all. So it comes out to a C+, just above average. You get 4 quality, 3 quality, and then a decent player, Michael Walker. But then I didn't like the final 2 picks at all. So I give that a C+ for the Atlanta Falcons. Next, the Baltimore Ravens. This is one of the best drafts I've ever seen or evaluated, and you can tell it right away. Look at all that green. Let's just get right into it on what I thought. This is one of the best drafts I've ever seen. You start with Patrick Queen at number 28, and he is a player that I had at my number 2 linebacker, right behind Kenneth Murray, but it was very close, and the Seahawks even took a linebacker before them, so the Ravens just had Patrick Queen fall into their lap, and that's an A pick right away. That's a great value. They needed a middle linebacker, as I mentioned in their free agency video. That's just a great pick. Then in the 2nd round, they get, once again, debatably the best running back. I had him as my 2nd, behind Swift and above Taylor and Helaire. But this is just, once again, a great pick. Mark Ingram's not going to be there forever, and you get a great future player with a lot of upside in J.K. Dobbins. So that's, once again, an A. 1st round talent, just at a position that you wouldn't always take in the 1st round. 3rd round, Justin Madubuike, a guy I thought was going to get picked in the 2nd round, so to get him in the 3rd is once again a massive steal. Same thing with Devin Duvernay. I would have taken him in the 2nd round. He falls to the 3rd. They got more receiver depth there, and that's just another A pick. Outstanding right there to pick up Devin Duvernay. And then you get Malik Harrison, who I had as a top 85 player as well. And you bring in more linebacking depth. So you get him at number 98. That's another A. That's 5 A's to start off your draft. Then I didn't like the Tyree Phillips pick. That's the only pick I didn't like. I think the 1+ for him is he can probably play tackle or guard. But I give it a C-, below average there. Did not like that one. If you're looking for a guard, I think they could have gotten Natane Moody, Tyler Bidash, or Nick Harris. But I'm not going to hate on it too much because at least they got a player there. But Ben Bredesen in the 4th round, another steal. I think he thought he was going to go late 3rd, maybe early 4th, somewhere in that range. But he falls to sort of the middle to late 4th. So that's, once again, a great pick. I give that one an A-. Broderick Washington is just a dude, so I gave that one a C. Could have been Laurel Murchison or some other dude, but that's fine. It's just a guy. But then they come back and nail the last 2 picks. They get James Prochet out of SMU, stealing the hearts out of any fans of teams like the Packers or the Eagles that maybe wanted a receiver like him, and the Ravens go up and pick him up. That's just a great pick value. Once again, sticking true to your board. And they get Geno Stone, who I thought was going to go 4th round for sure. Latest 5th. And they get him in the 7th. So once again, an absolute steal. So I give that one an A. So overall, I'm not giving A pluses to specific picks, but I am giving A pluses to team grades, and this is one of the best drafts. This is, in my opinion, it's between them and the Cowboys for the best draft this year, but this is one of the best drafts I've basically ever seen. So great job for the Ravens, and they get an A+ for that one. Next, we're going to look at the Buffalo Bills, who of course traded their first-round pick for Stephon Diggs. I think that was a good move because they needed an impact receiver right away. This is a team that's trying to capitalize on a window with a rookie quarterback contract, and they needed that wide receiver one, so good job for them. But that's not what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about first AJ Epinesa. I don't think he's going to be their number one edge rusher or anything right away, but he's going to be in the rotation, and this was an absolute steal. I thought he was definitely going to go in the first round, maybe top 25 is where I sort of had him ranked. So to get him at number 54 is a great pick for the Buffalo Bills. Then, although technically, like number-wise, Zach Moss was a reach here, I had him in the early 100s for the rankings. It's a good pick because everybody in that tier of running backs, to me, was the last player in the top tier. And you started to see guys like A.J. Dillon and Keyshawn Vaughn go before him, which to me is insane. And so it's a great pick for the Bills to pick up a quality running back, so I give it a B+ there. Fourth round, they picked Gabriel Davis. Above average. I thought he was going to go around here, so it's just a nice pick. But I think Tyler Johnson would have been an even better pick, who I had ranked number 100. And Jake Fromm here in the 5th round. I'm going to talk about this one a little bit more. At 167, I nearly gave it an A because I thought he was going to go 2nd or 3rd round. So this is an absolute steal. But what's interesting, and there's positives and negatives to this, Jake Fromm is basically the opposite of Josh Allen. I know it's weird, but Josh Allen, dude with a big arm, strong arm, sometimes makes some questionable decisions and doesn't always have the best accuracy. Jake Fromm is the complete opposite. His arm is okay, probably can get it done, but nothing to write home about. But he makes smart decisions with the football and doesn't turn it over. So I give it an A-. Worst case scenario, he can be that backup quarterback with the clipboard and help Josh Allen out. So round 6. Did not like, once again, you should not be taking kickers until the 7th round. But even so, it should be a team where you're not for sure on your kicker position. I understand if you don't like Steven Hauschka. But not only do you have Steven Hauschka, you have Kerry Vedvik, who they signed on a reserve contract. And Kerry Vedvik, if you don't remember, was traded to the Vikings last season for a 5th round pick because they thought he can play kicker and punter, which that means you basically have a backup at both spots. So Bass is going to have to beat out Vedvik and Steven Hauschka, which is why I don't like the pick here in the 6th round. But Isaiah Hodgins was a good pick in the 6th round. Love that pick there. I thought he was going to maybe go 4th or 5th. So that's a good one there. You get some even more receiver help there. And then in round 7, you get Dane Jackson, above average defensive back. I just give it a C+. He's just sort of an upside player. Good idea to pick him up in the 7th round. So I give it a B+. It's close to an A, but not quite there. It's very good, though. I think they nailed some picks. They sort of whiffed on a few. So it's just sort of right in the middle at a B+. Hey, you. Yeah, you. It'd be pretty cool if you subscribed and hit that bell icon to get notifications for when I upload. The goal is to get to 200 subscribers by 2021, so please help me achieve that goal. Now back to the video. Okay, so next to the Carolina Panthers is the team we're looking at, and they took a very interesting approach. They went all defense, which I believe this is the first team to ever do that, at least in the modern era or something like that. So it's a bold move. Obviously, this means they feel confident in their offense. I thought they could have used a guard, but the guard class was pretty thin this year, so it's not the worst decision. But what I like about that is they committed to this. They chose, okay, we're going to draft all defense. We're going to stick to it, and then we're going to stick to our board. So picking Derek Brown at number 7, I like the pick because I had that mock the whole time. Their biggest need was defensive tackle, and he's going to be an immediate impact and be a run stuffer. But I was a little bit surprised that at that point they didn't take Isaiah Simmons. I didn't think he was going to be available. He was my number 4 player on the board, but they took Derek Brown, so I'm giving it a B+. It's close to perfect. I would prefer if they took Isaiah Simmons, but I understand it because it's still a good fit there number-wise, like the value. and it was their biggest need, so I gave it a B+. Yeturgos Matos, to get him in the second round, is an A. He maybe doesn't fit their scheme as well as some other players, but that's an A. To get him in the second round, I thought he was going to be a first-round player, so that's just an A. Jeremy Chin is sort of not as good of as Isaiah Simmons, but something similar. You can play safety and linebacker, so they traded up to get him at the end of the second round. And once again, I give it a B+. I'm not as high on Jeremy Chin as some other people. Some people even had some first-round hype on him. But I think he's going to come in right away, and he gets started safety or be a rotational linebacker. That's a big impact right away. Going to the fourth round, because they traded, their third round, to get Troy Pride out of Notre Dame in the fourth round is a steal. I thought he was a guarantee to go round 3, so I give that one an A. And with the corner depth that they needed, he could be a starter day 1. Round 5, they picked up Kenny Robinson, formerly of the XFL, and that's a good pick. He can once again come in and be an impact player at safety in the rotation, and I think that just was a good pick by them. And Bravian Roy is another player to double up a D-tackle. They need a D-tackle. He can be, once again, in the rotation, so I give that one a B+, around the range that I thought he was going to go. In the last round, I think I would have preferred one of the corners that you see on the bottom right, but it's not terrible because it's a 7th round pick, so it's just sort of a guy you're taking a chance on, and I think he's got some upside. So overall, I give them an A-, although that may be high as you look at, there's not that many A's on here, there's only 2. I think I give them credit for going a specific approach. They believe in their offense, obviously. So for them to go all defense, I like that sort of showing their confidence and their just strategy and sticking to it. So I give their team an A-. Looking at the Chicago Bears draft, the Bears went out there and drafted their 10th tight end. It's sort of getting ridiculous. At this point, they could go out ahead and they could put out a whole offense of just tight ends. But that's besides the point here. Cole Kmet was a player I really liked, and I think this was around the number range that I thought he would go. But I don't love the fit here, as I'm very confused how the Bears assess their tight ends. Like, you're going to cut Trey Burton because you signed Jimmy Graham, right? So you swap those two. Well, you brought in Demetrius Harris, and you already have Adam Shaheen and like 7 other tight ends on their roster, and you're just bringing another one. You're just bringing someone. You got to choose who you believe in. The Bears, Bears, just choose which tight end you like. So hopefully this is it for them, because I swear they did the same thing with Adam Shaheen, and he has not turned out to much. But Jalen Johnson, though, at number 50 was a great pick. I love that one. A for that pick. I thought he was maybe going to go end of the first, early second, and he ends up going sort of middle of the road second, so A for the Bears on that one. Travis Gibson, though, is just a guy sort of above average, so I give it a C+. Bradley and I would have been a better pick in my opinion, but I'm not going to be too upset with the Gibson pick there. Then you got Kendall Vilder, who I'm sort of lower on than some people. But round 5 is just a little early to me, but not overly early, so I give it a C, average. I would have thought that Harrison Hand or Javelin Guidry would have been better picks there. Then you've got Darnell Mooney, who was an absolute sleeper. Everybody was calling him a sleeper. So that's good for them. I give it a C+. It's above average, but I think that Donovan Peoples-Jones or KJ Hill would have been better picks. In the last 2, I'm not really going to grade too much because I don't know these dudes. They were not on my board full of, I think at least 40 guards, so didn't even make the list. So if you can get a steal there, I'm not going to count you out on that, so I'm just going to give them both a C- because I have no idea who those dudes are, but never know, they could be good, so I just give them a C-. And overall, I give this grade a C. In this video, to sort of put it into perspective, a C is going to be just about average. That's, if you're picking the draft just averagely, that's what I'm going to give you. So it's like they did what they did. They upgraded at positions, but nothing to write home about. That's what I give here. Now we're going to move on to the team that had the number 1 overall pick, which was Joe Burrow. And after that, you'll see what I think. But starting with Joe Burrow, you've heard so much about Joe Burrow. I'm not going to bombard you with more information about Joe Burrow. It's an A. He's the best player in this class. Period. That's it. T. Higgins, though, in the second round is a good pick there. I thought he was gonna go late first, early second, so it's a good value. Also get another receiver. You know, you're giving him weapons with AJ Green and Tyler Boyd, and then you add T Higgins, so that's a good pick. Logan Wilson is above average. I thought he was gonna go late third round, instead he goes first pick of the third round, so it's a little higher than I would have liked, but it's still there, so I give it a C+. Same with Akeem Davis-Gaither. I love the value of that, but I don't think it was smart to double up there. I don't think you needed to there. So it's just a C+ again. I like the value there with Gaither, but don't know why you would double up. Then you picked an edge rusher, Khalid Kareem, who I thought was a good pick there, above average, but it would have been even better in my opinion if you picked Curtis Weaver or Bradley Nye, or even Kenny Willekes. But Kareem, I'm not gonna hate on. He's pretty good. So that's another decent pick. And Hakeem Adeniji is a guy that he's just a guy basically. He's sort of I thought everybody was gonna be taken by the 4th round. That was any good at tackle, but it turns out some were not. And Adeniji and Justin Herron were the guys I thought were gonna go like middle of the draft and just be there. This is where I think they made a mistake. I think either with the Logan Wilson pick or the Gaither pick, they could have taken a tackle. But with that being said, they still could have taken Prince Tagovailoa right there at 180, and instead they chose Adeniji. But then 7th round, Marcus Bailey. I like that. Thought he was going to go maybe 5th round. So it's a good pick there, value-wise. But once again, didn't give it an A because you're tripling down on a linebacker. I don't think that was necessary. So I give it a B. You started on fire, and then you sort of went downhill from there. Next, we're going to go to the Cleveland Browns. I'm sorry if this photo is a little less high quality. I made the same thing in Photoshop, but it wouldn't let me save it as like a photo file, so I had to take a screenshot of it. But the Jedrick Wills pick at 10, it's good value. I didn't give it an A because I feel that, he's going to have to transition to left tackle, which is obviously a little bit more difficult. So he was my best tackle available, but I'm surprised, honestly, that they didn't go with maybe a Mekhi Becton. But I love the pick there. Grant Delpit, once again, absolute steal. And number 44 thought he still would go first round. So to get him there is great. And Jordan Elliott, a guy that sort of, the hype started really high for him, then it went way down, and then it sort of bounced its way back up. So to get him at 88 is fine to me, a little high, but I give it a B-, not bad. But Jacob Phillips, wasn't a huge fan of that pick. I think Malik Harrison or Troy Dye would have been a better choice, but it's not awful, so I give it a C. Didn't love that choice, though. Harrison Bryant, I would give a C+. Above average. They already have some tight ends, and they gave the 5th-year option to David Njoku, but it's still a decent pick, so I give it a C+. Nick Harris going there is a great pick at 160. Thought he would go 2nd or 3rd round, so to get him in the 5th is an absolute steal. That's a guaranteed A right there. And to get Donovan Peoples-Jones, sort of an upside player, that's an A as well. I think he'll come in and maybe can be your 3rd or 4th receiver. So I give this draft an A-, very close to perfect. One of the better drafts in the 2020 NFL draft. Looking at the Cowboys, this is probably between them and the Ravens the best draft. So getting CeeDee Lamb at 17, although it's sort of, it wasn't their biggest need, they stuck true to their board, and that's great for them to do that. So they get him at 17, and that's an A right there. That's a great value. And to get Trayvon Diggs in the 2nd round, once again, great value. Thought he would go late first, early 2nd, but he ends up falling there, so that's another A. And then you get Neville Gallimore, who same thing I thought would go top 50 or so, and he goes down to 82, so that's another A for the Cowboys to pick him up. The Reggie Robinson pick wasn't the best pick in my opinion. I give it a C+. It wasn't amazing, but it's not terrible. I think it could have been a Meek Robertson, would have been a better choice there, though. But then Tyler B- was an A choice, fell to the 4th round, got him with the last pick in the 4th round, absolute steal there, so that's an A. Same thing with Bradley Anae. It's an absolute steal again. I thought he was going to go 3rd round, and he ends up falling to the 5th, so that's another A. The last round, I mean, you always want to take your quarterback shot, so I give them credit for that, but I think that Anthony Gordon or Steven Montez would have been a little bit better fits there, and I don't think Danuki's going to have much upside of anything, so it's just a guy. But I overall give this draft an A+. It's between them and the Ravens for who had the best draft. Looking at the Broncos here, they made some good moves, and they really emphasized getting weapons for Drew Lock. So they picked up Jerry Jeudy in the first round. Absolute steal. Again, they had their choice between him and Lamb. I had Lamb ranked higher, but I think Jeudy does fit this offense better. So credit to them for taking the guy that they had higher on their board. And KJ Hamler, once again, in the second round, is another steal, although maybe it was a double up, which is why I gave it an A-. That's not always a bad thing, so I give them credit for doing that, and that's just a good pick with KJ Hamler, and those are going to be 2 out of their 3, and then you get Cortland Sutton, and they've got a nice starting 3 for Drew Lock. Michael Ojemudia, though, was a bit of a reach to me. I think that if they were looking at corner, they could have gone Cam Dantzler, even Troy Pride, or Darnay Holmes, Bryce Hall. Ojemudia, I thought maybe was going to go 3rd round, but not early. I thought he was going to go in the hundreds, but he ends up going at 77, so that's just an early pick, so I gave it a C. Lloyd Cushenberry is just, I think this is a round where he deserved to go. Not higher, not lower, so I give it a B. It's right in that range. Credit to the Broncos fan who commented in my last video. Yeah, they ended up taking a center over a guard, but then they took McTelvin Agim, who, same thing as Ojemudia, I thought maybe would go end of the 3rd, but it's just a tiny bit too high, so I give it a C overall. Then you have Albert Okwuegbunam. I'm hoping that's right, but I give that one a B. They bring in talent. They maybe have too many tight ends, honestly, but it's never a bad thing to bring in more talent to your roster, so I give that one a B. Justin Strnad, B+, very good. I think he's got a lot of upside in this class, so that's a nice pick there just to get some upside for it. And it's an absolute A here to get Netanyahu Muti. It's perfect. Yeah, he fell in the draft just because of the injury concerns, and I think he's got a chance even to start at guard right away, actually. So that's just a home run pick, one of the best picks of the draft. Then Tyree Cleveland, I give it a C. It's just there. Like I said, C is average, so that's around where I thought he would go. I would have preferred, though, if they did Tristan Jackson, but that didn't happen. And then Derek Tuszka is a good pick. It's a C+. It's above average. Glad he got drafted. I liked Bryce Huff more, but that's a good pick for them. So I give this team an A. They nailed free agency, bringing in like Jarrell Casey for cheap and some other moves. I think they did a very good job here. One of probably the better drafts. Not one in those top 2, but very good. So I gave the Broncos an A. Next, we're going to the Detroit Lions, who started with the 3rd pick in the draft, and they picked Jeff Okudah. That's a good pick. Give it an A there. That's just, they did what they needed to do. They obviously weren't given any offers to trade back, so I give that one an A. They got their guy. The next one, I love the value there for DeAndre Swift. I thought he maybe would go to 32 of the Chiefs or something like that. But I don't love the landing spot, and we'll see what happens between him and Kerryon Johnson. So I give it a B. It's right in between that A and C. It's like the A is the value, the C is the need and sort of positioning there. So I give that one a B. But then I give an A to Julian Akwara, who not only is it a good value pick-wise, but he reunites with his brother, so you've got that chemistry there on the defense. So love that pick right there. Jonah Jackson, sort of the same thing as DeAndre Swift. The value is pretty good. I may give it close to an A there. But the trading up for him didn't think they had to there. I believe they traded up for him. But so I give it a B. He's going to come in and compete right away. Then you've got Logan Sternberg, who I give it a C, a little early. And I don't love going back-to-back guard there. So it's just a C. It's fine. It's there. Quintez Cephas, though, is an A. I thought he was going to go 3rd round, in my opinion. So to get him in the 5th there is a great pick. And, okay, but Jason Huntley, not on my board. Could have been just about any other draft-eligible running back. Was not on my board, full of at least 43 running backs. So try again next time. But John Penisini in the 6th round is fine. It's a C. Once again, it's just a there. But then Jason Cornell is an absolute steal there. I thought he was going to maybe go 5th round, maybe 4th round. So to get him there in the 7th round is a great pick. I love that one there. Okay, so that's a B-. I give this team a B+ overall. I think they did very well. 3 home run picks, 3 pretty good picks, a very questionable one, and then just 2 average picks. So I think that sort of equates out to there. So I give the Lions a B+. Wait, sorry, I'm getting a call. Okay. Hey, Aaron. Yeah. What? You're upset about our draft choices? We took a skill position player in the 1st round. That's what you told us to do. Oh, you meant a not quarterback. I'm sorry, we couldn't do that this year for you. Well, we also got you a running back that can't catch and a blocking tight end. Does that make you happy? No? Okay, I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm getting a cutout here. I gotta go back to my video. Sorry. Sorry, that was Aaron Rodgers on the phone. He's not happy with me. You know, we took a skill position player in the 1st round, and that's what he said to do. But he wasn't happy taking Jordan Love. But in all seriousness, I think the Jordan Love pick isn't as bad as what some people say, but I also don't think it's as good as some people say. I'm right in the middle on it. If you love Jordan Love there, then I guess you do it. The value there is great, which is why I would have given it an A for literally just about any other team besides the Green Bay Packers. They still have Aaron Rodgers for 4 more years. And, So, Jordan Love, if they do a 5th-year deal, is literally only going to have 1 more year in his contract than Aaron Rodgers anyways. So, didn't like that. I mean, it's like didn't like that part, but the value's there, so I give it a B-. A.J. Dillon, big reach there. I don't think he's going to add that much to the passing game. One of the draft guides I looked at in my book literally has him listed as a fullback. And they're also wanting to put their 3rd round pick at fullback, so this is just a terrible draft choice in my opinion. Yes, he has power, but I think it's clearly showing that this new regime doesn't believe in anything. They're saying, forget about Aaron Rodgers, we didn't draft him. Forget about Aaron Jones, we didn't draft him. It just feels like that's what they want, their own thing, and that's what they're going to do. Maybe I think you can compare, honestly, Jordan Love to Marcus Mariota and A.J. Dillon to Derrick Henry for Matt LaFleur's offense. I'm not saying those guys, well, Love will probably be better than Mariota, but Dillon's nowhere close to Henry. But that's just a comparison of what they're trying to build here. And then Degara there, a guy I would have considered in the 5th round or so. That's just a D+. That is terrible. Could have been Bryson Hopkins or Adam Troutman or Hunter Bryant, which Hunter Bryant even went undrafted and the Lions picked him up. But this is terrible. And then you have Kamal Martin, who's not bad value there in the 5th, I guess. I mean, I guess. I don't know why you didn't take a receiver like a KJ Hill or even a Peoples-Jones at that point, but you get a C. It's not bad. John Runyon, you could have taken other linemen too. You could have gotten Utega Wanogo. You could have even gotten Calvin Throckmorton, who literally can play any position. And then you go 2 more offensive linemen. If just one of those picks was a wide receiver, that would have been great for Aaron Rodgers. But you heard him on the phone call that I called him, and he's not happy. It's because unless Simon Stefaniak is going to go play slot receiver for you, I don't think these are good draft choices. They might not even make the team. Vernon Scott, never heard of him. Never heard of him. If you're looking, it's just, they have him listed as a DB. I haven't seen whether he's a corner or not. I have no idea who this dude is. But if you're looking for a guy that can play both, then you could have gone with Brian Cole or Shaheem Carter. But nope, they went with Vernon Scott. And then Jonathan Garvin is fine. It's a good value there, but it's not an A because I don't think he really fits this scheme. I don't think he's an outside linebacker. I think he's a D-end and he wants to go rush the passer. This is the worst draft of this. I nearly gave it an F. I nearly did. This is the worst draft of this year, possibly one of the worst in the past few years. I think it's funny. We saw the best in the Ravens and the worst in the Packers. Next is the Houston Texans. That's what I react to. It just, yikes. But, you start really well with Ross Blacklock. I like that at number 40. It's sort of confusing, I think this was DeAndre Hopkins' pick, so Ross Blacklock I doubt will ever be as good as DeAndre Hopkins, but that's besides the point. But he's a good player at 40. Thought he maybe had a chance to go in the first round. So to get him at 40 is very good. I, for a long time, thought Matt Buike would go there, but Blacklock is better than Matt Buike, so good pick there. Jonathan Greenard at number 90 is fine, a little early to me, so I give it a C. Jonathan Greenard, though, I think Bradley and I would have been a better choice, and maybe even a Kenny Willekes or Curtis Weaver would have been better choices. But Charlie Heck is below average. Didn't like that one. You could have taken Tega Wanogo or Jack Driscoll. So, didn't like that pick at all. Way early. Thought he was going to go 6th or 7th round. John Reed, a little early there too. Thought he was going to go 5th, 6th, 7th. So, you could have gone Bryce Hall with that pick, or even a Javelin Guidry or a Harrison Hand. Did not like that pick either. C. And Isaiah Coulter, I really like him as a player. I think he was a sleeper, but I saw him as a sleeper because I thought a team would get him in the 6th or 7th round, and it would be a steal. But a little early there, so I give it a C. So I overall give them a C-. Not good. C is the average, so it's below average, but not Packers level bad. Indianapolis Colts, some highs and some lows here. But you start with Michael Pittman, who I think was a little overhyped. That's why I give it a B+. But it's very good. I mean, he's going to be good in the offense and might try to be, sort of that Mike Williams type of player for Phillip Rivers. But he's going to be good, but a little overdrafted, which is why I give it a B+. Jonathan Taylor would have given an A value-wise, but trading up for him, didn't love the move, but I guess the running back started to come off the board, so I give it a B. Maybe would raise that a bit, though. Julian Blackmon, to me, a little bit of an overdraft. I thought he was an end of third type of player, so I give it a C. It's just average there. Jacob Eason, though, in the 4th is an absolute steal. I would have thought they could have considered him in the 2nd or 3rd, so to get him in the 4th is a steal. So that's a A. A lot of upside there. Danny Pinter, just around where I thought he was going to go, maybe a little early, so that's a C. Same thing with Robert Windsor, around the place I thought he was going to go. But for the Danny Pinter pick, I think Netanya Moody or Michael Onwenu would have been better guards. And if they're looking for tackle, then I guess it wasn't a terrible choice, but could have been some other players as well. Then you got Isaiah Rodgers. Didn't really know much about this dude, so I think it could have been literally any of those corners listed on the side. But it's not awful, I guess. You're starting to get towards the 7th round. But then you get Desmond Patton. It's fine. He's decent. I think, though, it could have been a KJ Hill or a Tristan Jackson. So I give that one a C-. And Jordan Glasgow, I've seen him listed everywhere. I've seen him listed, they announced him as a safety. I've seen him listed as a linebacker. I've also seen him listed as a defensive end. So I don't know what he is. I haven't really researched him all that much. But if you're looking for a safety, I think that J.R. Reed or Shaheem Carter would have been better choices. So that's a C- as well. So I give them a C+. I liked their first two in their 4th round pick, but after that it's just a bunch of meh and a little below meh. So I give it a C+. Next, we're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars, who I like what they did here. So starting with the C.J. Henderson pick, a little early in my opinion, but it was their biggest need, and if they liked the player at 9, they didn't talk about any trade downs. I thought that trading down was a big possibility here, but it was clear they liked C.J. Henderson, so credit to them for sticking to their board. So I give it a B+, close to an A, but not quite there. Caleb Chason, though, is an A, as you're probably going to be letting go of Yannick Ngakoue. You got rid of Calais Campbell, so you go ahead and you get an edge rusher there to go opposite Josh Allen. So that's a good pick for them. Laviska Shenault is, I think, a great choice. I didn't think receiver was their biggest need, but I thought they would take one. So to get Laviska Shenault, there's an A. They just took best player available, and that's what you should do. Devon Hamilton is a C+. It's a little higher than I would have thought, and I thought Neville Gallimore would have been a better choice there, but it's above average. The Ben Barch pick, though, thought he would go 3rd round. To get him in the 4th, A. Josiah Scott, this is around where I thought he would go, so I give it a B. Could have been a Bryce Hall, though. 4th round here, you picked Shaquille Quarterman. I give it a C. It's average, a little early. I think Khaleke Hudson would have been a nice choice there. But Daniel Thomas is a player I thought also a little early there. So I think it could have been a Loie Gilman or J.R. Reed. So that's a little early in my opinion. So I gave that one a C-. Colin Johnson, you're sort of getting too many receivers in my opinion, but you get a nice one there, so that's a B+. Good value. Jake Luton is higher on my board, so that was a decent choice just to bring in another quarterback. So I give that one a B. Tyler Davis, not on my board, so literally any of those tight ends you see, plus anybody else, once again. Big board, I had at least, I think, 30 tight ends, and he wasn't on there. So D+. And Chris Claybrooks barely made the list of my 45 lists of corners, so C-. Could have been a Javelin Guidry or Sang Bassi or Stanford Samuels, etc. So not great. So I think they started on fire and sort of let it go day 3. I think, like I said, the first maybe 6 picks were good, and then after that, just meh to me. So I give it a B+, close to an A, but not there because of what they did on day 3. Next, we have the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, and they started with the running back, and I think they didn't really have much other needs, so it's good to take a running back there. Obviously a little early, but it's a good choice for them as they don't really have any other needs. They can get an impact right away from Edwards-Helaire, so I give that one a B+. Willie Gay Jr. at number 63, decent value, don't love the value. It's above average. We've seen that the Chiefs, they didn't care about the Tyreek Hill character concerns, and that worked out for them, so we'll see if Willie Gay works out for them as well. Lucas Niang, getting him at number 96, absolute steal. Thought he was going to go early 3rd, maybe late 2nd, and that's just a steal. They got another tackle to develop. L'Jarius Sneed, a little early to me, but I think if there's anywhere that he can work out in, it's here in Kansas City. I think he can be similar to Charvarius Ward, so that's a decent pick. Mike Dana, same thing, a little early, but not terrible. But then the last one, Bo Peep Keys, a little early as well, barely made my board. Could have been a Javelin Guidry, once again a Sang Bassi or Stanford Samuels, other ones. So I give them a B. Nothing to write home about necessarily, but they sort of were in that position anyway. They didn't need to make a huge splash. They have a bunch of needs filled already. They just won the Super Bowl, so they're just trying to get better. So I like what they did here, but not anything crazy, but love what they did. Next, so the Raiders, I was a little confused by some of these picks, so let's just get into it. Henry Ruggs, I can justify him being the 12th overall pick, because obviously the Raiders love speed, and that's what Mike Mayock said too. He liked him because of the speed, so I can understand that. I think it would have been better if they took a CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy, but it's not terrible, so I give that one a B. Damon Arnett, though, in my opinion, was very confusing there. I think Christian Fulton and Jalen Johnson, Trayvon Diggs, and even the Noah Ibenogany, who I thought was a 2nd-round player, would have been a better choice here. I had him as my number 68 overall player, so that was one of the not-so-good picks, in my opinion, in the whole draft. But we'll see. So next is wide receiver, quarterback, and running back. So basically Taysom Hill, but not quite, is Lynn Bowden. And Mayock said he's going to play running back, which is interesting because he's going to be a running back up. So interesting to take a backup running back there. I think he can get in the rotation, though, but I give that one a C-. I think it would have been better if they used him as a wide receiver and then maybe, taking the next pick of somebody else, or just taking Bryan Edwards and somebody else. But so just below average there. Bryan Edwards here, C. Little early in my opinion, but not terribly early, so it's not a huge reach. So I give it a C. Tanner Muse, though, thought he was barely going to get drafted, and he gets picked 3rd round. I was shocked by that. That's a D. Didn't like that. By the way, you see the wide receivers they could have taken. I think they could have even taken Akeem Davis-Gaither or Khaleke Hudson is literally another guy that can play linebacker and safety. So I'm very confused by that. Then John Simpson's fine there, little early, but not terrible. You know that Mayock loves Clemson, so it's not awful, but didn't love that choice either. But the Amik Robertson is the one that saved it a bit there. That's a great choice. But I'm going to give the Raiders a D+. I think maybe you could justify C- here. It's definitely got to be below a C. They definitely whiffed on some picks. But I give it a D+, maybe a C-, but I gave it a D+. A decent pick in Robertson, and I'm fine with Ruggs, but the other one's sort of confusing, in my opinion. Justin Herbert was the first pick the Chargers took, and it's a B-. I think it sounds like they didn't have a preference between Tua and Herbert. I sure did. I thought that Tua is a much better player, so I give it a B-. They fill, that need there, but I think it was an overdraft. But looking at that, I think he's got more potential. He's got a lot of potential. I think he'll be right away a better player than Jordan Love. So it was good for them to get him at 6 because he wouldn't have been available again. But then they traded up for Kenneth Murray. I think that's a B+ move there. I think that I really liked Kenneth Murray, liked the value there. Didn't fully understand trading up. You needed to give up your 2 and 3, but I would prefer if they would have taken a 2 and 3 maybe linebacker and some other help maybe on the offensive line or something to give more help for Justin Herbert. But I'm not going to disagree with it too much, so that's a B+. 4th round, though, they have Joshua Kelly, keeping him in California, but I think it was a little bit early for him. I know he was getting a lot of hype after, I believe, it was the Senior Bowl, or maybe it was the East Shrine game, but a little too high in my opinion. And to me, I thought they were maybe going to look for a replacement to Melvin Gordon, which he sort of is, but I think maybe they could have used Benjamin, that's sort of bigger and would have been a better goal line back, but Anthony McFarland also I thought would have been a better choice, so I didn't love that one. Joe Reed is a C+, good value, but once again, like Darnell Mooney, sort of one of those players that I thought was going to be a sleeper, but that would be if he was taken in like the 6th round, but to go in the 5th is just a little above average, but not great. To me, I think Quintez Cephas would have been a better choice, and maybe Isaiah Hodgins too. So 6th round though to get Aloy Gilman, that's a B+, very good move to get another safety. And KJO in the 7th round is an A. The fact that he fell there, very good pick by the Chargers. So that's just an A all around. And so the overall grade is a B+. Started strong, ended strong, middle, meh. Didn't love those, but so not bad for them. They're going to get some good players, so they can compete this year, so I give that draft a B+. Does anybody else see a trash can on their screen? Oh, wait, that's the Rams logo, but that's besides the point. So they picked Cam Akers, who is going to be probably their starter. I mean, maybe. We'll see what they think, compared to Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown. But I thought it was early for Cam Akers. And not only was it early, I think J.K. Dobbins would have been a better choice. So, 2 bads there, but I give it a C. It's like they needed the running back, but it was early for that player, and it could have been a better player. Van Jefferson, at 57, it's a C+. Once again, a little early, would have been top of the 3rd round, in my opinion. But 57 isn't bad. He's going to be that 3rd receiver right away. So it's above average. I give it a C+. Could have been a Denzel Mims, though. Would have been even better. But the Terrell Lewis pick here is an A-. It's very good. He has the injury concerns, obviously. But to me, this is a very good draft choice. So I give it an A-. And then you have Terrell Burgess, who is a C+ there. I think it's a little early, but not by much. It's right there. So I give it a C+. Bryson Hopkins, though, absolute steal. Had him in my top 76 players, so he was just a great choice there. And it gives you the option, if they don't want to extend either Higbee or Everett, they have that option as well. Jordan Fuller in the 6th round. This is a round where I had him. This is a great spot. Not too early, but not, quite there to be an A pick, but it's a B. Clay Johnston, C-, barely made my board. So, could have been a Joe Bocci or a David Woodward. So, I give that a C-. The Sam Sloman pick, like I said, I don't like special teams being drafted. But if there is a spot, the 7th round is where you want to go. So, good job by the Rams waiting until the 7th. Once again, disrespecting the spec. you should have picked Rodrigo if you want a kicker, but that's besides the point. And then Tremaine Ankrum, same thing. He can play tackle and guard. I think Calvin Throckmorton could have done the same thing, if not even better. But it's not a terrible draft choice, so I give that one a C+. So that's overall going to give them the grade of a C+, which is, I don't think, besides I like the Hopkins pick and the Terrell Lewis pick, but besides those two, I don't think you had a great picks and a lot of just meh, so I give it a C+, just like above average. Not great, but just above average. Okay, so the Dolphins started on fire. I like the Tua pick. Got 5. Didn't need to trade up. It's a good pick for them. He's obviously got a little bit of injury concerns, so I'm fine with them though taking him at 5, so I give it an A-. Austin Jackson, I thought this was going to happen. I disagree with it. I think a trade down would have been better, but or even honestly putting 18 and 26 together to get a better player would have been a better move, but I'll give it a C+. And I also liked the idea of the Dolphins trading back, trading back to 30. I liked it at first, but then I was a little surprised to see them take another corner there. You have Xavier Howard, you paid Byron Jones, but I guess bringing in a third corner isn't terrible, but I was very shocked by that decision, so I give it a C. Igbenogany, I'm hoping that's right again, but I think he's a good player, but I thought maybe second round was a better fit. Robert Hunt, once again another one that I saw maybe coming, but I would have preferred him to go in maybe the 50s or late 40s type of range, but I'm interested to see whether he'll go ahead and play right tackle right away, or if he'll go and play guard. I think everyone has sort of agreed that he's more suited as a guard for the next level, but he played right tackle, and I think he could honestly start at right tackle if they choose to do so. Then you have Raekwon Davis, who this was just a little early. I thought like later third round was a better spot, so could have been Neville Gallimore or Justin Madubuike, so I disagreed with that choice. I give it a C. The Brandon Jones pick, did not like that one. C-. Bad choice, in my opinion. Not the best choice, in my opinion. Could have been some other safeties, and I just thought it was way early. But then Solomon Kinley at 111, that's a C as well. It's just a good pick to bring in more depth. Jason Strowbridge, love that pick. It's a B right there. Has the flexibility to play defensive end and defensive tackle. I think he will fit well in this Brian Flores Patriots type of defense. So I love that pick right there. Curtis Weaver is once again with Natane Moody, one of the best picks in the draft here. He slipped hard, but to get him in the 5th round there, great pick by the Dolphins. That's an A. Why are you taking a long snapper, Miami? This thing that saves it, which is why I didn't give it a below average grade, is it is the best long snapper in the class. But that doesn't warrant you taking one, okay? You should have waited to the 7th round. I sort of want to change that to C- right now, but I'm going to save you, Dolphins fans, and keep it at a C. Malcolm Perry, I like that choice. It's obviously it was lower on my board, and so it's a reach value-wise, but this is exactly what you should be doing in the 7th round. You take flyers on guys that have a lot of upside, and that's exactly what Malcolm Perry is, so I give that one a C+. Overall, I give it a C+. A few home run choices there. Love the Tua pick. Love the Weaver pick. I think the Strowbridge and Robert Hunt picks were good, but the other ones were sort of confusing to me, so I give it a C+, above average. I think they went the right approach, just maybe didn't take the right players. Sorry if it's a little hard to see the players in this one. There just were so many picks I had to shrink down the text size. So this is a lot of picks, so be ready. Okay, so the Vikings, I love what they did. As a Vikings fan, I'm not trying to be biased at all, but I think there were a lot of great picks here that I really liked. So the Justin Jefferson pick I thought was an A. I nearly gave it an A- because you're sort of replacing Diggs with Jefferson, and I don't know if Jefferson's ever going to be as good as Diggs, but out of the receivers that were available, I think he's probably the one that could be the closest. So I love that pick for the Vikings. Jeff Gladney as well at 31 is a great steal. I thought they were going to take him at 25, but for them to trade back, get extra picks, and still get him at 31 is just an A. That's a great pick. Next pick, Ezra Cleveland started getting a lot of first-round buzz, and I sort of started to believe it. I thought he was going to go first, but he didn't, so to get him at 58, once again, great steal. I feel that after Riley Reef maybe moves on, you can start him at tackle. Otherwise, you can move Reef to guard, probably. Honestly, maybe if you have to. Cam Dantzler pick. I like it. He's a good player. That's right where I had him. A little confused, though, as Zim normally doesn't like his rookie corners. Maybe he's starting to switch to that, but I give it a B. I didn't love doubling up, but he's a good player, so that's a good choice. DJ Wonnum, early to me. That's a C. I thought he was going to go late 4th, but he goes early 4th. Would have liked a Curtis Weaver or Bradley and I there, but it's not awful. James Lynch pick, I would pretty much give it an A, but I think maybe I'll be interested to see where he fits in this defense, whether he's a D tackle or a D end. I think he's going to probably play D tackle, but that's where I think it's just a great value, though. I nearly gave it an A. Troy Dye is definitely an A. Had him in my top 100, and was surprised he fell there, and I think he offers flexibility as a linebacker and might be able to start day 1. Harrison Hand, once again, like the Dantzler pick, great value. Puts it as a higher grade, but why are you tripling up? You basically have a starting lineup now at corners just from rookies. So I gave it a C+. Loved the player, didn't love the doubling up, the tripling up actually. Then KJ Osborne, once again one of those players that barely made my board. This is the only pick I didn't love. I think a different KJ Hill would have been better, or even a Donovan Peoples-Jones, Isaiah Hodgins would have been better, but maybe there's something in this dude. I didn't see a whole lot of him, but maybe he's got something, but I didn't like that one. Blake Brandel, this is a C. Once you get into the 200s, that's where I thought he would go, but I would have loved if they took a Calvin Throckmorton. Josh Metellus as a C. I think that Geno Stone would have been a great choice, just because he's a very good safety, but Josh Metellus is a hard-hitting player that I think will add a lot to this defense. Kenny Willekes is a great choice at round 7. That's an A right away. We'll compete with Wonnum for that opposite starting spot and Ifeadi Odenigbo. And Nate Stanley is as well a great choice. I think he can compete with Sean Mannion to be the backup, so that's an A. Brian Cole, love the value. A little confused why, once again, you're taking so many secondary players. I give that one a C+, same type of thing as the Harrison Hand. And Kyle Hinton, small school guy, wasn't on my board, but the tape seemed pretty good, so maybe they got something in him. So I give it a C. Don't really know him, but that's what I'm going to do with them. But I think I give them an A. They have so many picks, and I think they also did a good job of maybe getting some even more picks for next year. So that's an A for the Minnesota Vikings, and I think there's so many choices here, and we'll see how many make the team and actually impact in the future. Now, the Patriots did a very Patriots type of draft. I trust Bill Belichick, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, but I didn't think it was a home run draft here. So Kyle Duggar, give it a B+. It's a player that Bill Belichick will be able to use him at his best of his ability, but a little early, in my opinion. But at the same time, they couldn't have got him at a later pick, so I can justify it a bit, but a little early, in my opinion. Same thing with Josh Uche. I think, once again, he'll fit perfect in the scheme, but once again, a little early, but at the same time, wouldn't have been there at the next choice, so same exact thing. The Anthony Jennings, a little early, but if there's any place that would fit him, it's New England, so I give it a C+. It's going to be, they got their 2 edge rushers right there. They just replaced, their edge rushers. So the next ones, though, they take tight ends, which I can justify, but to take 2 of them, first of all, and then as well, you could have taken Bryson Hopkins, Adam Troutman, Hunter Bryant, Thaddeus Moss, Harrison Bryant. You could have taken a lot of good players, but I don't think Asiasi is the best choice at that position. I think that was a little early. And then the Dalton Keene pick as well. I would have considered him in the 5th round, and thought that was a good choice. But in the 3rd, that's way too early, so that's a D. The kicker nearly gave it an F. Nearly gave it the only F in the only F of the video, but I Didn't quite, as they needed a kicker, but very disappointing. Wasn't on my board. As ESPN said, that was the first player they didn't have any footage on. And you could have taken, once again, respect the specs, okay? Could have taken Rodrigo. But Michael Onwenu in the 6 is a great choice. That's an A. Thought he was going to go 4th. Justin Heron, as I mentioned with Hakeem Adeniji, that's one of those just a guy type of players. So it's fine to get him in 6th round, C+. Cass with 2 S's. Malula. Literally, it's just a Patriots linebacker. It's a Bill Belichick linebacker. Have no idea who this dude is, but 10 years down the line, he's probably going to be a decent player. So, no idea who he is, but he's probably going to be decent 10 years down the line. And Dustin Woodard, that's a good pick in the 7th round. That's a round where I had him. I thought he would, just make the cut to be drafted. So I give it a B. I personally don't love the picks, but I like the picks for Bill Belichick, if you sort of know what I mean. Like, I personally wouldn't have chose these players, but if you're Bill Belichick, it makes sense to choose these players. So I give it a B. Not great, not bad, a B. Next, we have the New Orleans Saints here. They only made 4 selections, but they did a decent, I guess, with these selections. So Cesar Ruiz at number 24, good value. Was surprised that of all teams the Saints would take him. They already are pretty stacked on the O-line, but I give it a B. So that's why the pick number is an A, but the fit there is a B, just because I think that you could use some depth at other positions, maybe a linebacker or somewhere else. But I'm not going to hate on it. It's pretty good. I like Ruiz a lot. He's a great player. To get Zach Bond in the 3rd round, once again, great steal there. That's an A. Thought he was going to go late 1st, early 2nd, and that's an A. Adam Troutman, I like them going after the tight end, and at least they picked a decent tight end, unlike you saw like the Patriots and some other teams take some questionable ones. So unlike the Patriots and the Packers, they took a decent tight end, but I was very confused that they basically sacrificed all of their day 3 to go up and get him. So I give it a B-, but so it's a good player, but didn't love how much they traded for him. In the last round, so if you're confused, they traded all their 3rd day picks to go get Adam Troutman, but they traded a future 6th to go get Tommy Stevens this year, who it sounds like had agreed to a deal with the Panthers. So smart of them to go get him. I've heard he's a Taysom Hill-like quarterback, so we'll see where he fits in as. He's going to be a 4th quarterback. I don't know if he'll make the team. Probably would be a practice squad player, but that's not bad. So I give this team a B-. I think what they had with these, if you just take a look at these 4 players, I think this is good. They did good with that. But what you could have had is, instead of Adam Troutman, which it seems like you could have gotten some other tight ends like Thaddeus Moss or Hunter Bryant in the later rounds as well, I think that you could have sat there, not traded all your picks, and still gotten some decent players and gotten more players to help your football team. But it's not awful, so I give it a B-. Okay, Dave Gettleman actually did something good. Yep, let's get right into it. Andrew Thomas. I know a lot of Giants fans, you may not be happy about the pick, but I really like that pick. Although I think his potential and upside isn't as big as maybe Mekhi Becton or Jedrick Wills, I think his floor is the best out of any tackle in this class. So he's going to be right there, and he can probably, I think right now they'll have him start at right tackle, but he's known at playing left, and he's a great one at left. So we'll see where they move him. That's why I gave him an A-. I might have to transition him. But it's a good pick. I like that. Xavier McKinney there at 36, a steal. Mel Kiper had him rated way too high, but it's still a great pick. I thought he was going to go late 1st, early 2nd. So that's a great choice there. And Matt Peart, I don't know which one it is. Although they picked a tackle earlier, and they didn't necessarily need that, it's a great steal there. So to get him at 99, they stuck true to their board. That's an A. Darnay Holmes would give it an A for value, but once again, they sort of already have so many corners. So I don't know where he's going to fit in, like in the starting lineup, but I love the choice. Then you've got Shane Lemieux. That's a B. He's decent. So pretty good pick there. Thought he would go early 4th, go sort of middle, late 4th. Cameron Brown is a perfect fit for this defense. That's why I gave it a B. Early, but you can justify it. Carter Coughlin, same thing, fits his defense. That's an A-. That's very good. To get him in the 7th round, that's a steal, and he fits the defense. T.J. Brunson is just a C. It's just a guy. I think Joe Bocci would have been a better player. Chris Williamson in the 7th round as well. That's a C. You're going for an upside guy. I think Williamson has a lot of upside, but would prefer one of those corners on the right. And I think you could have taken Joe Bocci again at Mr. Irrelevant, but they didn't. So that's fine. But I give this an A-. Close to an A, but they sort of finished out, man, the 7th round. I think the middle rounds as well. They did decent, not stand out though. But you should be very happy, Giants fans, with the draft that you had. So I give the Giants an A-. Next, we have the New York Jets, who they made some interesting picks here. But Mekhi Becton at 11, great choice. I think right away he'll be a starter. So that's an A-, very good choice. Denzel Mims in the 2nd round, great job by them. I thought the whole time that they were going to make a trade, whether to move up or down in the 2nd round. So they ended up doing that, and they grabbed Denzel Mims, so that's an A pick as well. Ashton Davis, A-. You might have to move around your safeties, which is why it isn't an A, but the value is an A, so I give it an A-. And Jabari Zuniga was very confusing. I gave that one a C. Didn't love that one. Would have liked to see a Terrell Lewis, Curtis Weaver, Bradley Nye, or even Anthony Jennings. So I give that one a C. Same thing with the Michael P. Ryan. Could have seen some other players like Eno Benjamin or Anthony McFarland, but it's not terrible, so I give that one a C as well. The James Morgan pick I'm very confused on. You could have seen a Jake Fromm, a Nate Stanley, a Anthony Gordon, or even a Cole McDonald. Not so much that one, but mainly the other 3 I think would have been better choices there. Did not like that one at all. Cameron Clark is fine at 129, very early in my opinion, but if you'd like the tackle depth there, I guess. But Tego Winogo or Jack Driscoll would have been better choices. But Bryce Hall at 158 is a steal. Give that one an A. And good job, Jets, for waiting to get your punter. I don't love Lachlan Edwards, but could have waited to the 7th round, so I give it a C. But that's a B. Sort of like some other teams. I think they started on fire. They nailed the first day and the first part of the 2nd day. But then after that, sort of fell apart. Wheels fell off the car. But still very good, so I give it a B overall. Okay, so looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, obviously they needed wide receivers. So they go out and get Jalen Reagor. But I think Justin Jefferson would have been a better choice. But Jalen Reagor is not bad. I thought he was maybe could have snuck into the 1st round. A little early there, though. So I give it a B-. Jalen Hurts, a little confusing. I like the value, but I was surprised that the Eagles, of all teams, well, I mean, it's more likely that they would take one than some other teams, but I was surprised maybe a team like the Colts or the Steelers or the Patriots, somebody like that would have taken them, but they didn't, so they just took them. I'm not going to give it a negative grade, but didn't like that one. Davian Taylor, I like that one in the 3rd round. I think the value there is decent. End of the 3rd round is exactly where I thought he would go. So to get him in the 100s is perfect. That's right where I thought. So I give that one a C+. Kayvon Wallace, someone I thought would go late 3rd as well, falls to the 4th. Give that one a B+. You saw Jalen Hawkins go right after that. That was surprising, but so I give that one a B+. Very good value. Jack Driscoll, I'm sort of sad for him because I think if he was put in a different situation for a different team, he could start. But he's not going to be a starter in Philadelphia, but he's going to be a great player for them. John Hightower, they go out and just bring in more wide receivers, so I like that they're doing that, so I give that one a B+ in the 5th round. Sean Bradley is a meh there. Could have gotten Joe Bocci or Marcus Bailey, I would have thought more, but he's sort of a low-floor type of player in my opinion. Kez Watkins, you're stacking up the receivers a lot, but he's speedy, and I think it's good to just bring in more, so C+ there. And Prince Tego Winogo is a absolute, once again, one of the best picks in the draft. That's an A. They recreated the Auburn tackle situation. Then they have Casey Toohill, was a meh pick there at the end. It's just right where I thought he would go. So I give it a B. Some high end at the end. I think they finished very strong, but they started sort of meh. And then a few meds also in between. So that, I think, to me, balances out to a B for the Philadelphia Eagles. Looking at what the Steelers did, they added Chase Claypool Interesting choice by them. I didn't think the Steelers were going to be the team to take them, but I like that choice there. So I give it a B. It's nice, but was a little surprising. The Alex Highsmith pick, this is around the value that I think was good. I thought early 4th, but late 3rd is fine. So I give that one a C+. It's just above average. Anthony McFarland, though, is a great choice there at running back in the 4th round. So I give that one a B. Kevin Dotson, some places had him pretty high, some places had him really low. I sort of had him in the middle, so I give it a B-. It's above average there, but not home run. Antoine Brooks, though, was a very nice choice at 198. Thought he would go 4th or 5th, so great pick. That's a B+. And Carlos Davis at the end is just sort of a flyer, so you give that one a C. But I give it a C+. I don't. The average is higher than that when you look at the draft, but I think they just more took an interesting approach. So I'm not quite ready to give it a super high grade, but I think this could be a better class depending on how they use these players. So I give the Steelers a C+. Next, we have the Niners, who finessed the Bucs so hard, which apparently the Bucs had some insight that Joe Staley was going to retire, so that was good by them to find that out, and that's why they the Niners picked up Trent Williams. But it was smart for them, in hindsight, to trade up and make sure they get the tackle, because otherwise the Niners would have taken Tristan Wirfs, I bet, maybe. But Javon Kinlaw, they're still a good pick. People were confused. I had him in my mock draft going there at 13, so I think it's a very good choice, but I think a wide receiver there would have been nice. Obviously they came back and get Ayuk, but it's a nice pick there for Kinlaw. Ayuk, as mentioned, he fits this offense very well, which is why I have it a higher grade than I would have had. So if there's any team he fits, it's the Niners, which is why I have it at a B. McKivitz was early there. I give it a C. I think Prince Tega Wanogho would have been better depth, but he can maybe play guard too, so I give it a C there a little early. This is what the Packers should have done at 190. You can wait till later, just pick up your blocking tight end like Charlie Warner, and you're good. So that's good for them. That's just average. That's what the Packers should have done, which is just take their blocking tight end in the 6th round. Juwan Jennings is a B+, very good choice there. I think he will fit this offense, and it's nice to take a flyer on a big upside player. So I give the team overall a C+. I think they started on fire, then just above average there. A lot of just sort of guys, in my opinion, but 49ers can turn them into talent, so I give them a C+. Hey kids, today you're going to learn what the color yellow is. The color yellow is the entire Seahawks draft. They just drafted a bunch of dudes, so let's just get rid of it anyway. Jordan Brooks was very surprising. Gave that one a C-. Nearly gave it a D. Did not like it. I think they already have Bobby Wagner. Don't think he's a scheme fit. Patrick Queen was right there, and you let him fall into the Ravens' laps, too. So I give it a C-. I also was very confused on them trading up for Darrell Taylor. I thought he was going to get picked 3rd round and be a nice sleeper in the 3rd round, but 2nd round is way too early, and they traded up to get him. Did not like that at all. That's a C-. Once again, nearly gave it a D, but could have been I think even if you traded up for Curtis Weaver, Bradley Anai wouldn't have been a trade up for him or Uche, but I think you could have sat there and got one of those guys. Damian Lewis, above average, C+. I think a little early, but not too bad. So I gave that one a little bit of a positive grade. I think Netane Muti would have been a better choice, though. Kobe Parkinson, they love their tight ends, apparently, and if you were going to take one, I think Hunter Bryant or Bryson Hopkins or Thaddeus Moss would have been better choices. But that being said, they took Kobe Parkinson, who, honestly, I think you could compare him to Luke Wilson, who I believe they re-signed. So that's fine to me, but it's below average, a little early. DJ Dallas, same thing, a little early there, but the running back position really went fast in this draft once it started getting going, so it was smart for them to pick up a player there, but early, so I give it a C-. Alden Robinson, I like there, that's a C. Nearly gave it a C+, pretty good, but once again, you could have taken Curtis Weaver, Bradley, and I. Then you have Freddie Swain, just a meh type of pick, last pick of the 6th round, so basically a 7th round. Could have been a KJ Hill or Juwan Jennings, I would have thought was better, but that's an okay pick. And they took the wrong LSU tight end, in my opinion, but Steven Sullivan's fine, but they could have taken Thaddeus Moss or Hunter Bryant there. So I give them a C-. It's just they're going to get a bunch of guys that will contribute, but was very questionable on a lot of these choices. So I give it right below average, which is a C- for the Seahawks. Okay, the Bucs liked, obviously, it was interesting for them to trade up for Wirfs, but he was the last tackle available that was any good for the first round. That's a great move by them. That's an A right there. I will be interested, though, to see whether they'll move him to left or right, but that's an A. Then you've got Antoine Winfield, once again an A. That's a great choice by the Bucks. Then you get Keyshawn Vaughn, who is a C- there. Bit of a reach, could have been Zach Moss, I think would have been a better impact, but not bad. They get a running back that they needed for the offense. And then to get Tyler Johnson, my number 100 player at 161, absolute steal, one of the better picks of the draft. That's an A as well. Khalil Davis is fine. That's a C. It's right there. Chappelle Russell, barely made my board, but it's a 7th round pick, so that's fine. C. Raymond Calais, same thing. They're taking shots, but I think Jermichael Hasty or J.J. Taylor would have been better choices. This is maybe high to have an A-. I may change it now to like a B+, but I think it's justifiable. You get for sure 3 picks I loved. The Vaughn pick could be good if that's the guy they liked at running back, and the other ones just might be a little bit, they're decent picks. So it's an A-. I think, though, maybe you could lower it down to a B+, but I think it's above average for the Bucks here. Titans here, now I thought Isaiah Wilson number-wise was a reach, but I like them getting him before he goes in the 2nd. So that's a decent pick. He can play tackle and guard for the Titans here. But Christian Fulton is just an A. They know how to get their 2nd round picks. Harold Landry's been a pretty good player for a 2nd round pick, and to get Christian Fulton in the 2nd round is just a steal. Thought he would go in the 20s. Darrington Evans, a little early, but I can see once again the running back position took a little bit for them to start going, but once they did, it started going all over the place. So they needed to get their guy, which I understand that. It's just a little below value, which is why I give it a C-. But Laurel Murchison at 174 was a steal. Give that one an A-. Very good there. Cole McDonald, I like that, just taking a shot on a dude, and he's an absolute project, but I like that a team does that in the 7th round. And then Chris Jackson didn't make my board, so I'm just going to give it a C. But I overall give them a B. Love a few of their picks, a few other pretty good picks, and a few interesting ones. But maybe would raise that to a B+, but it's a very good draft here for the Titans. Okay, we made it. Last team of the video, we got edge rusher Chase Young. That's an A. You've already heard a lot about him. But Antonio Gibson I was confused about. Like I said, the running back's position started to go. He might play wide receiver, but I thought he would go to a team like the 49ers and maybe even the Packers or like Rams, somewhere that could use him very uniquely. But Ron Rivera's a defensive head coach. I don't think Washington is going to be able to use him to the maximum ability that he has. So that's why I give that one a C- there. Sadiq Charles is an interesting player. I think some people had him way too high, but that's fine, I guess, at the 108. This was, I can't remember, I think it was right before the Trent Williams pick, or maybe it was right after, but they needed a tackle, so they went ahead and got one. But Prince Tagovailoa or Jack Driscoll would have been better choices. Gandy Golden, I give it a C+ there. May would have raised it a bit, but I think it was just a little, like, around where I liked it. It was above average there. Didn't think he was a 3rd round player, so this is good value for them there. Keith Ishmael is just a guy there. That's around where I had him, a little early, though. Nick Harris would have been a better choice, in my opinion, but it's not terrible. Khaleke Hudson was a great pick there. I give that one a B. It's a hybrid type of player that can fit this defense with Ron Rivera, so I like that pick there. I thought he would go maybe 4th round. Then you have Cameron Curl. Is just sort of a guy there at 216. That's fine for them to take a shot on him. And James Smith-Williams is the definition of what you should do in the 7th round. Just take a shot on a guy with a lot of upside. So, overall, though, give the Redskins a C. Some good, one great pick, obviously, of Chase Young. The Hudson pick was also pretty good, but otherwise, sort of disappointing. So I give it a C. We did it. We made it through this video. With that being said, I'm hoping to upload my next video pretty soon, which I think I'm going to do my top 25 or 30 college football quarterbacks going into next year. Obviously, hopefully that the season happens. But I hope all of you are staying healthy out there and doing well, staying in your homes. We're going to get through this together. I know we can. So, hope you guys are having a great day, evening, whenever you're watching. With that being said, see you in the next one. I got this soda,